Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Nepal Tech Hub, and today on this video we're gonna talk about MagicMirror, which is also called a smart mirror. And they have a different version called MagicMirror 2, which is really advanced than the first one that they had. On this video, I'm not gonna go from the scratch because we need to have the wooden frame and two-way mirrors, all that things. So you have to make a mirror frame. That's basically like MagicMirror. So you have to have mirror, which have two-way mirror. Then you add LED screen either in the top of the mirror or the bottom as you like, or you can make full LED screen and the top of that you can just give the two-way mirror. I'm going to talk about how to install the software requirements so that your mirror will look like a smart mirror, MagicMirror. So for that you need Raspberry Pi, LED screen, and the mirror that you can see from the both sides. Okay, so your Raspberry Pi, if you have Raspberry 4, then that's really nice because it has HDMI code, which will be really easier to get connection with the LED screen that you're gonna keep on your mirror. I'm using Raspberry Pi 4B. First thing you have to have on your Raspberry Pi is you need Rasbian. Install the Rasbian OS in your Raspberry Pi and boot. So if you don't know how to do this process, then I have a separate video for this from the scratch, how to get connection with the cables and everything that I have really described each and every steps that you need to know how to install Rasbian on your Raspberry Pi. Rasbian is operating system for the Raspberry Pi. So yeah, I'll give the link in the description below. Watch the video and then come back. So everyone else who know how to install Rasbian on your Raspberry Pi and already have it, move forward. So for them, the setup makes require everything is working normal in Raspberry Pi. So at first, once you install Rasbian in your Raspberry Pi, you need to make sure your Raspberry Pi is working normally. Means you have to set up your Wi-Fi network, you have to set up your time zone and everything. So just make sure once you reboot and everything has been done, your Raspberry Pi is working normally, and make sure your SSH is enabled, because we're going to do the remote access to the Raspberry Pi. So your SSH need to be enabled. Once your SSH is enabled, you can use Putty, or you can use, if you are using MacBook, you can directly go to the terminal and do SSH SSH. Give the, either if you have the hostname Pi or Raspberry Pi, then give IP address. So that's all we need, and hit enter, then you will get connection to the SSH. So for Windows machine, we're going to use Putty. That's what I have installed on my computer, so we're going to use Putty. And so open the terminal of your Putty. If you're using Putty, then you can start using it. Let's go ahead and do. So here I have a mirror. Let's load it. Yeah, I have my IP address, and then open. So once I open, if my IP address is confirmed, like if it is true, right, then how to get the IP address of your Raspberry Pi? Good question. So once you set up your Raspberry Pi normally, then you can open the terminal of your Raspberry Pi, Control-Shift-T, then you can hit if config. Yeah, most of the time we hit IP config, but no, it's not, it's if config. So then you'll get MAC address from there. So it should be something like 3 letters dot 2 letters, or 3 letters dot 1 letter dot 2 letters, like 192.168.1.111 or 192.168.2.234. Yeah, some kind of these. Once you get all those things done, then let me show that again. Open your Putty. Then once you open your Putty, then okay, I have it loaded here. So 192.168.0.22. so let's go ahead and open, and it's gonna show login as. So whatever your host name is set up in your Raspberry Pi, you have to give that name. By default it could be Raspberry Pi, but I have changed to Pi, so I'm gonna go ahead and do as login as Pi, and it's gonna say Pi @ my IP address and then password. So whatever you have set up your password first time when you Raspberry Pi set up, so it's gonna ask you the password, so you have to enter the same exact password from here. Okay, once you gave your password, then if it is true, all your login ID and password is confirmed, then you'll get access to it. So now you can see I have Pi @ Pi. I have my host name is Pi, and it's @pi because I'm connected to the Raspberry Pi. So now the first thing I have to do is, as you can see here, so open the terminal of the Raspberry Pi. So crawl. So this is to download and install latest version of nodejs. This is what we're gonna do. We need the nodejs, so we need to download and install the latest version of nodejs. I'm gonna just do it copy and paste, so it's gonna be easy for me, and hit enter. So it's gonna take a couple seconds. Once your first part is completed, once you do the first command, I'm gonna give the command in the description below, so don't worry about it, or you can just pause the video and copy the command. It's all up to you guys. Okay, here on this one, and the second thing we need is you need to install it. Now you just update it, so now you need to install it. So sudo apt install nodejs, and is y for s, so whatever, so that once you give y saying yes, you don't have to confirm each and every single time. And remember, we are now connected to the Raspberry Pi. We are doing remote access to the Raspberry Pi. That's what we're doing. We're not working on our desktop. We're working in Raspberry Pi via SSH remote connection. So now we need to clone the repository and check out from the master branch. So that's what we need to do, because MagicMirror is open source. You can find it online, documentation and everything. I'm gonna put the description MagicMirror documentation as well, and you can just go ahead and look through the documentation process too. It's all up to you guys. But here, the next step you have to do once your nodejs is installed is you have to check out the repository from the Git. So that's what I'm gonna do next. So I forgot to give the git clone. That's what it requires. Git clone. So it's cloning. Then the next thing we need to go is enter inside. So once we have all this whole directory, whole folder has been already cloned in our local Raspberry Pi, then we need to go inside the directory. Now we need to go inside the MagicMirror directory. So for that, we just do cd, or we can just see what we have. So here you can see we have just cloned, and we see MagicMirror. So now we can go inside that MagicMirror, just do cd ma and hit tab, then it will show you the full path, and you can now inside the MagicMirror. So inside there, what we have all these folders that we just cloned. So for that, now we need to install the application that's called npm. npm is the application which will help to run the shell script that we have for the MagicMirror. So we need to install npm inside the MagicMirror directory. That's why we came inside the MagicMirror directory. So now we have to give the command saying npm install, npm install. So it's gonna verify and it's gonna install npm. Then you just have to wait. Once your npm once you install the npm, then the second thing we need to, just to make sure, just to be on the safe side, we need to create a copy of the config sample file. To make the copy of that config sample file, we have this command, and once we have a copy of it, then we're just gonna start the application with npm. So we'll just wait till it gets installed, and we'll go forward. So we have just installed the npm application. So now we're gonna make a copy of our sample config file, just to be on the safe side, as I said earlier. So for that, we're gonna copy this command and run. Okay, now we have already done that. So let's just go ahead and run the npm. Just start the npm applications. So for that, we just have to give npm run start. So once you do this, your MagicMirror should start, and you will see the newsfeed, the basic default newsfeed, clock, and the weather report. Let's just go ahead and see how does it looks like. Yeah, once we start the npm server, then you're gonna see this is the default. It's gonna show you the current time and the upcoming holidays, and the news feed and the complement, and the weather will be on your far right hand side. So this is the default module. We can always change this one and configure to our own time zone and how many clocks we want to keep. And also for the weather, we can also change this module. So this is how it gonna looks like once we start the npm. Just to make sure, once your npm has been started, if something happened, if your Raspberry Pi has to be reboot, then you have to do that again manually. You have to start npm again. So that is not kind of handy, right? So let's just go ahead and kill the process first. Control C, you can kill the whatever application running right now, and then we're gonna start. We're gonna install npm2, so that your script, your shell script, will always keep running, even though if it is restart, even though there's some errors upcome, then it's gonna restart and reboot your Raspberry Pi, and it's gonna run MagicMirror shell script again and again. It's like 24-hour running. For that, command is sudo npm installed pm2. So it's gonna take another couple seconds. Let's just wait till it gets finished. Okay, our PM2 has been already installed. So the next thing we have to do is start PM2 on boot. So now this is the production label. PM2 is a production label application which will keep your nodejs up live, like every time with a minimum downtime. So it's gonna keep your application really up, like it will keep you alive. That's the thing, for your application it will keep you alive. So in order to get this npm start, even this you have to start it. So for this, if you reboot your machine, then you have to restart the npm2. To avoid manually doing it, we can also give the command and say, hey, whenever you restart, whenever Raspberry Pi has been restart, you can always go ahead and start the npm2. So npm2 will do start node.js application, which is your MagicMirror. Simple. Okay, let's just go ahead and do it. And for that, command is pm2 startup. You see, this is pm2 startup. Now it's started. Now we have to make a script for the MagicMirror to start. If you want to see how does it looks like now on your MagicMirror, it's probably there's no changes on it. Whole application has been already cancelled. There's nothing running on it. It must be the simple desktop screen. We need to create a simple MagicMirror script so that the npm can automatically start once it's a reboot. So for that, just to be on the safe side, we need to get out of MagicMirror folder, because whatever we have inside the MagicMirror folder is we have node.js, we have the npm, and we have pm2. That's what we have inside the MagicMirror folder, and all the default modules and configurations. So, but for the PM2, for the MagicMirror start script, we're gonna go outside the MagicMirror folder and we're gonna create a script. So let's get out of this folder. So now we're gonna give, okay, now I'm already out, so I don't have to worry about it. So yeah, I'm already outside of the MagicMirror folder. So for that, we're gonna do nano mm.sh. So this is a script. We're gonna write this script down here. So do cd. So we're gonna go inside the MagicMirror folder, MagicMirror directory, we can say, and then say display equals to 0 npm start. That means if there's a display pops up on your, like once you restart your Raspberry Pi, once your desktop display has been popped up, then it's gonna start the npm. That's what it's saying. So display equals to :0 npm start. So to save this one, we have to do Control X and it's gonna ask you, do you want to modify it, and you say yes and hit enter. Then yeah, now you have already saved it. So the next step we're gonna do, we have to give a access. So we have to modify the access of the script folder. Do chmod mm.sh. We're gonna give the full access to this folder, to this directory, that sales script that we have just written. So once we do that, so we can manually run the pm2. We can manually run the pm2 right now. So for that, pm2 is start like mm.sh. Let me show that again. Cat mm.sh. So what we have done inside the script, MagicMirror script shell, is we say okay, cd.magicmirror. That means go inside the MagicMirror directory, and then once the display equals to 0, npm start. So we just start the once it start, just start the npm. So run the npm, so which is the application to run the nodejs. So inside the npm, what are we gonna run? We're gonna run the MagicMirror2. Yeah, that's all we were saying. So even this script need to be run every single time, and to make this script run, we're using pm2. That's what basically we are doing. That's the logic behind everything that we are doing, installation and all, everything. So once we start pm2, the nodejs will run MagicMirror, and you can see the default screen of a MagicMirror that I showed you earlier once you start the pm2. Now let's just go ahead and do it. pm2 start mm.sh. You see, now it's online. It says status is online. Now let's go ahead and see. Yeah, once you start the npm server, then you're gonna see this is the default. It's gonna show you the current time and the upcoming holidays, and the news feed and the complement, and the weather will be on your far right hand side. So this is the default module. We can always change this one and configure to our own time zone and how many clocks we want to keep. We have done this manually. We have run the pm2 manually, saying that pm2 start this script. We say pm2, hey pm2 start the MagicMirror script cell. So every time we don't want to do this manually. What if you have electricity cut off, and just like, you know, it happens sometimes. You have your electricity cut off and you don't even know, it just for a couple seconds, but your Raspberry Pi will get off, right? And it's gonna restart back on once you get your electricity back. So what about that time? So you have to connect your keyboard and everything, and again say, open the terminal and say pm2 start mm.sh, means MagicMirror.script shell. So no, we don't want to do that every single time that we want to reboot our machine. So we're gonna save the pm2 save. Now it's already been saved, our log and everything has been saved. Your pm2 has been already saved. So this will give you, once you're if you have any error during your rebooting your Raspberry Pi, then it's going to restart the pm2, which will restart script and will run the MagicMirror application on the node.js. So you don't have to worry about anything else now. But if you want to restart your MagicMirror, if you think, okay, because from now on it's going to be like live for forever till you have continuous electricity, and your MagicMirror will just be there. It won't blink either. Yeah. So if you want to control over module, yeah, I have the different country clock module. So I believe that my viewers could be from different countries. So I have old clock repository here. You can you can clone the repository and just give the different configuration, and you'll be good to go. So before that, if you want to restart your Raspberry Pi, thinking that okay, my Raspberry Pi has been working continuously for 15 days. Okay, if you think, okay, maybe my Linux machine require restart, and once you restart your Linux machine, the pm2 should automatically start, and then it will automatically start MagicMirror, right? This application need to be run. So for that, you can always schedule your Raspberry Pi at what time you want to reboot, how many times a day or how many times a week. You can always schedule, and that's the Raspberry Pi feature by itself. You don't have to install anything. And once your Raspberry Pi has been restarted, you can also give them, you can also tell them, we can also schedule to run PM2, or you can also ask them to exactly the way we said PM2 start mm.sh. We can also say the same thing and make them to work on it. To schedule your restart time or your rebooting time or anything that you want to schedule, then you have to go from the cron tab. So let's go ahead and do it. I'm gonna go ahead and make it once in a week, or I'm gonna do I'm thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it, because last time I had it for once in a week, so it really exactly don't work for me. So if this is your first time selecting editor, you have to select the editor. If this is your first time, you haven't edited anything on the cron tab, and then you have to select the editor. So I'm going to select a WinNano as it suggested. This is the easiest one, so I'm just going to do it. Get the WinNano, choose, okay, I have to choose one. Okay, I have selected the WinNano. I don't know why I just typed the whole thing. So in here you have to go all the way to the bottom and just add here if you want to schedule to reboot once a day, like let's say 6 p.m., 6 a.m. or 9 a.m., 12 a.m., whatever you want to do it. So you have to give 0. That's first, that indicates the how many times, and I'm going to do 18. That means like it's going to be 1 to 12 and then 13, 14, 15. So 18, that means 6 p.m. So 18, and I'll give 3 stars. So 1, 2, 3 stars. Then say has been shut down, then restart. The first number indicates the minute and the second indicates hour. So once you say 18:018, that means 6 p.m. If you want to say 6 a.m., then you just do 06. If you want to say 12:30, then you will give 30 in the front and then 12 at the second. So and then 3 stars, and has been shut down are now. Then your Raspberry Pi will automatically restart 6 p.m. every single day. To save. Okay, now it's already been done. So if you want to change anything on your, if you want to change different module, if you want to add different module on your MagicMirror, then there are a lot of modules available in Google that you can do on the GitHub. Yeah, but for this, like, this is the famous one that I really like it, because you know you have different world clock. So for that you have to do git clone http. So your first thing is you have to be inside the module, not just only the MagicMirror. So let me go ahead and do that, cd, and here as you can see there's a module inside the MagicMirror. There's a module, so you have to go inside the modules. And if you want to change anything config, so configuration is inside the config, so you can always give different configuration from there. And if you want to add different modules, you always go inside the module and do, okay, then you see this is the basic module, like this is the default, this is the default module that we have from the MagicMirror installation. So we're gonna clone this old clock. So it has been already installed. Now once we clone the repository, we have to give the configuration as well. So for that we have to go inside the config file. So for the configuration we need to go inside the config.js. So right now we're inside the module. So here we just have old clock. That's all we have, and the default from the MagicMirror. So we need to get out of this first. And now you can see we have config folder inside the MagicMirror folder. So we need to go inside the config folder, cd config, and see what we have inside it. We have config.js, sudo config.js. Yeah, we have to do sudo nano config.js. So now we can see this configuration file of this old clock. So here we can make a couple changes. So you can see what we have. We have weather top right, we have news feed and the New York time for the news feed, and we have a complement, right? And then calendar, this US holidays calendar, and the clock on the top left, and the alert. So for now we don't have anything set up, so here we're gonna keep this clock. Okay, and do now give this module. Now let's do Control X, modify, and see. So restart by itself. So this is how it's gonna look like once you get your module configured. And the one I have used on the far left top was world clock, where I have set up 3 different countries clock, and here is the US holidays, upcoming US holidays, and I have complement and the news feed on the bottom. So on my right side I have weather forecast for next. So you need to use a weather API for this. So this is how it's gonna look like.